Ladies and gentlemen, hold on to your seats because the Las Vegas GP delivered one of the best races of this season. And yes, I know what you're thinking. Didn't I call this track a useless inverted pig in my last video? Guilty as charged. But let me say it loud and clear. I was wrong. This track was an absolute masterpiece today. Not only did it crown Max Verstappen as a four-time world champion, but it also showcased the true, raw power of Mercedes. Deadly fast and oh so satisfying to watch. And speaking of Mercedes, how about Lewis Hamilton? P10 to P2 in a jaw-dropping performance that reminded us why he's a seven-time world champion. The overtakes, the pace, the poise, it was all there. This was F1 at its finest. Buckle up because we're diving into everything this insane race gave us. Max Verstappen has officially cemented his place in the F1 Hall of Legends. With this victory, he joins the rarefied ranks of four-time world champions, a club that includes icons like Sebastian Vettel, Lewis Hamilton, Michael Schumacher, and Juan Manuel Fangio. This isn't just an achievement. It's a statement. Max has redefined what dominance looks like in Formula One. From blistering pace to unrelenting consistency, he's proven time and again that he's not just a fast driver, but a complete one, capable of adapting, thriving, and delivering under any circumstances. Let's take a moment to applaud a driver who's reshaping the narrative of this sport. While he was mid-interview, Lando Norris stopped by to personally congratulate him, and the two shared a brief but heartwarming chat like old friends. It was a glimpse behind the helmets, a moment of camaraderie and respect that reminds us of the relationships forged in the pressure cooker of elite motorsport. Seeing them interact was a reminder that, despite the intensity of competition, mutual admiration exists among these incredible athletes. And speaking of Lando, let's talk about the criticism he's faced. Sure, he's made comments in the past about Max being lucky instead of talented, but let's cut him some slack. Lando is still young, learning and finding his voice in the paddock. These drivers are under constant scrutiny, and it's easy to forget they're human too. If today's moment with Max proved anything, it's that Lando has a good heart and is capable of growth. He's not defined by a few comments, but by the way he competes, evolves, and connects with his peers. What a weekend for Mercedes. From the very start, their pace was legendary. Lewis topped FP1 and FP2, and if it weren't for Stroll's red flag in FP3, he might have swept the board. Everyone expected Russell to bring home the win, but boy, did Lewis flip the script. By lap 32, Lewis had overtaken Max Verstappen to grab two. George, meanwhile, had his hands full, fending off Charles Leclerc in the early laps before settling into a solid rhythm. But let's give credit where it's due. Lewis's drive from 10 to P2 was pure magic, seven-time champ magic. This was a masterclass in perseverance and skill. Lewis didn't just rely on raw speed. His strategic brilliance was on full display, navigating through traffic, managing tire wear, and making crucial overtakes under pressure showcased his unparalleled experience and racecraft. Every move he made was calculated, ensuring he maximized his performance despite starting from a disadvantageous position. Meanwhile, George Russell demonstrated why he's one of the brightest talents in the sport, maintaining his position against fierce competition and executing flawless defensive maneuvers to keep his lead intact. Lewis's P2 finish not only solidifies his status as a seven-time world champion, but also sends a strong message to the rest of the grid. Underestimate him at your own peril. His ability to adapt, overcome setbacks, and deliver under pressure continues to set him apart from his peers. As we look ahead to the remaining races, Mercedes and Lewis are undoubtedly ones to watch, proving that their championship aspirations are far from over. McLaren needs to regroup, and fast. They've already lost the Drivers' Championship, and now their hold on the Constructors' title is slipping. This weekend was nothing short of a disaster. After starting behind Max Verstappen, Lando Norris never even got close to challenging him. It was like watching a team stumble at every turn while their rivals capitalized on their mistakes. Both McLarens pitted absurdly early, a move that raised eyebrows across the paddock. By lap 24, Lando was already complaining about dead tires, and the team seemed to have no answer to their ongoing struggles. Oscar Piastri's weekend wasn't much better, as he couldn't mount a significant challenge to anyone ahead of him. Strategy missteps combined with a lack of raw pace meant McLaren was stuck playing catch-up, while Ferrari continued to extend their lead. It was a weekend void of highlights. McLaren, a team that had shown so much promise earlier in the season, looked utterly out of sorts. Whether it was tyre management, pit stop timing, or just outright pace, they fell short in every department. Their car, which had previously been hailed as a game-changer, seemed off-balanced and ill-suited to the Las Vegas circuit. And their drivers, while putting in solid efforts, were let down by a series of strategic blunders that left them vulnerable to their competitors. Lando and Oscar deserve credit for fighting as hard as they could with the tools they had, but it's clear that McLaren's current form won't be enough to challenge Ferrari. The Scuderia's renewed aggression and better execution are proving to be a significant hurdle for McLaren, and unless they address their shortcomings immediately, for Red Bull this weekend was far from perfect. It was a rare off-performance for the Austrian team, starting with a crucial misstep. They brought the wrong front wing, compromising their setup on a track that demanded perfection. Their struggles with grip were evident throughout the weekend, making the car difficult to handle. Sergio Perez's weekend went from bad to worse as he was shockingly eliminated in Q&A, a moment that encapsulated his frustrating season. Max Verstappen, however, managed to salvage a pivot in qualifying despite the car's suboptimal setup, proving why he's one of the best in the business. In the race, Max showcased his characteristic tenacity, climbing to P3 by lap 8 and P2 by lap 10. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. The car's handling issues persisted, and his tire degradation was noticeably higher than his rivals. At one point, his race engineer had to step in and calm him down, saying, "Max, just don't lose sight of our aim today." To which Max replied, yeah, I'm doing my race. It was a rare moment of visible frustration for the usually unflappable Verstappen. As the race wore on, the challenges mounted. By lap 32, Max lost P2 to a flying Lewis Hamilton, who was on a charge to the podium. Max then slipped further, losing P3 to Carlos Sainz and P4 to Charles Leclerc. Despite the setbacks, he managed to hold off Lando Norris, finishing in P5. It wasn't the dominant display we've come to expect from Red Bull, but it was enough for the team to achieve their primary objective. Max did what he needed to do, clinched the Drivers' Championship, officially joining the exclusive club of four-time world champions. With the title now secured, Max can practically kick back and start his vacation early. He doesn't even need to show up for the final two races if he doesn't want to. It's a testament to his dominance this season that even on an off day, he's still miles ahead of the competition in the standings. Alpine had a rollercoaster of a weekend, showcasing both brilliance and disaster. Pierre Gasly was the star of qualifying, securing an incredible P3, a performance that had everyone buzzing about the potential of the Alpine. But the joy was short-lived as Gasly's race ended prematurely with a heartbreaking DNF due to a power unit failure. Meanwhile, Esteban Ocon's race turned into a comedy of errors when he pitted only to find the crew utterly unprepared. Seriously, Alpine, what's going on? Moments like these make it hard to take their ambition seriously. As for Williams, their weekend was a textbook example of misfortune. First, Franco Colapinto crashed their brand new chassis, a devastating blow for a team with limited resources. Then, during the race, Alex Albon was forced to retire due to a power unit failure. Franco managed to finish the race, but only in P14, adding salt to the wounds. It was a weekend to forget for the Grove-based team, who desperately need a turnaround to regain momentum. And that's a wrap on the Las Vegas GP, a race that truly had it all. From Mercedes proving they're back in the game, to Max Verstappen's historic fourth title, this was F1 at its dramatic best. As the championship winds down, every race counts, and the fight for constructors' positions is heating up. Stay tuned for more, because the next two races promise even more fireworks. See you in the next one.